Hey, this is Tim, licensed loan officer. Today on this video, we're going to get into how to get the best interest rate. Thanks so much for watching. Glad to have you here. Before we get into the topic and talk about how to get the best interest rate, I'm going to tell you exactly how. I would like to just tell you a little bit about this channel. Just if you're new here or if you're returning here, just so you have an idea. This channel is dedicated mainly to first-time home buyers. So I do a lot of topics about first-time home buying. I also talk a little bit about investing properties, like buying an investment property. That's always something a lot of people are interested in. And then I talk about relevant topics like improving credit or saving for a down payment, property types, things like that that's related to home ownership. Now, I will be mixing in some other topics later on this channel, but for now, that's kind of what we talk about. With that said, well, if you like those type of topics, please consider subscribing to this channel. Now, I want to get into the topic that we're going to talk about is how to get the lowest interest rate. Now, this is something everybody wants. Like, who don't want a low interest rate? So I'm going to tell you exactly how. And this is coming from like a loan officer, okay? Someone that actually does this every day. I lock rates, take applications, I help clients purchase homes. I go to closing, take pictures, all that good stuff. So I'm going to tell you exactly why it's important. The interest rate is basically, I would say, one of the most important things. Another thing is important is the down payment, but interest rate is very important, mainly because the lower your interest rate is, the lower your payment is. And then also, the lower your payment is, the more affordability and the more home you can afford with a lower interest rate. So let's get into the presentation and I'll show you exactly how. Also take some notes because this is good stuff. And this is going to be relevant today, next year, whenever you're ready to buy a home, this is relevant. And this is how you get the best interest rate. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, these aren't like 100% like correct. I mean, like there's some flexibility and I'm going to explain that to you. So take it, give or take. But let's get into the first thing that will help you get a good interest rate or get the best interest rate. Ready? So the way it works in the mortgage world is that it goes off your credit score. Now, if you know anything about mortgages, you probably already knew that. Yeah. So the higher your credit is, the higher your credit is, the lower your interest rate would be. So in the mortgage world, the best interest rate you can have, like a FICO, is a 760. Now, what you see on Credit Karma, that's called a Vantage score, and that's not a FICO. Lenders go off of FICO. So 760 or above will give you the best interest rate. Now, if you're at a 710, that's good. A 740, that's good. But to get the absolutely best pricing, you want to be at 760. But again, if you're over 740 or 750, you have good credit, and you will get a good interest rate. But if we're talking about the best interest rate, the best of the best, 760. Now that could be hard, but if you're over 700, you're in great shape. But if 760 would be the ideal if you want the absolute best, but you're going to get good pricing, like I said, if you're over 700, okay? 700 is like that tier part. Anything under 700, I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to get the best interest rate. But if you're over 700, you can definitely get the best interest rate. Now, you may have to pay a little bit of cost. We call that discount points in the mortgage world. So you pay a little bit of discount points, but you're at 760. Even if you have to pay discount points, it'll be lower. So the first thing, what I want you to take from this is your credit score. So if you pay down credit card debts or do whatever you need to do to get your credit as high as you can, and that's going to help you get the best interest rate. Now let's get into the second tip, okay? The second tip is equally important, but I would say credit's number one. So definitely start with the credit. But the second one we're going to get into is just as important. All right, you ready? Let's go. The down payment, okay? Down payment, okay? Now, for a first-time home buyer, the minimum down payment is 3%, okay? 3%. Now, since we're talking about the best interest rate, you might want to do 5%, okay? 5% will give you better pricing than 3%. But what I have seen is that the sweet spot is 10%. Now, if you're buying your first home, there's a down payment plus their closing costs. What closing costs is a lender cost. So there's money that goes to a lender. Now, lenders call this different things. Some call it origination, some call it processing points, but there's some lender costs, and there's also title costs. So you pay like your title. You also pay your prepaids, and then you also pay escrow, like your future taxes and insurance. So sometimes 10% could be a little, stretching your budget, especially if you don't have a lot of cash. I didn't have a lot of cash when I bought my first home, and I put the minimum 3% down. And this was before I was a loan officer. But if you want to get the best interest rate, sometimes you might want to save a little bit. And I would say do a minimum of 5% here, minimum 5%. But 10% is the sweet spot. So get your credit up as high as you can, and then do a little bit more than the 3%. If you can do 5%, that's a sweet spot. 4% is not going to do anything for you, okay? Just so you know, if you're thinking about putting 4% down, just go back to 3% and keep that cash. Same thing. If you were to do 9%, that's not going to give you the best pricing. It has to be 10%. So the way it works, 3% is the minimum, 5% is better, and 10% is sweet. Now, if you could do 20%, that's even golden. But again, what I've seen, if you have excellent credit and 10%, you're going to get, one of the best interest rates, okay? So let's get into the next one, okay? Now, some of you may not like this, okay? Single family. See behind me? This is a single family. This is not a condominium. This is not a townhome. It's not a manufactured. It's a single family. So the best pricing comes with single family homes, okay? Now don't feel discouraged if you're buying a condominium and you're putting 5% down with excellent credit. You're still good. You're going to get the best interest rate for that. But the best pricing comes with single family homes, and it's a primary, okay? Now a secondary home, investment homes, those do not get the best interest rates, okay? So this is how you do it, okay? You work your credit up the best way you can. You do a little bit more than 3%, and then you buy a single family primary. And I'm actually a big fan of single family primary homes, only because you own that home, you own the land under it. You basically can, paint the walls, knock a wall down, add an extension. You have more freedom. You don't have a lot of freedom with a condominium. You only own the wall to wall. You own a unit inside a building. The HOA actually owns the building. So you're going to get the best rate with a single family home. So I hope I didn't get anybody mad at me. Please don't get mad at me. But I'm telling you, I'm just giving you the information. What you do with it is totally up to you. Okay. I think there's might be one or two more, but these are the main ones right here. Good credit, put a little bit more than 3%, buy a single family, make sure it's your primary. All right, so this one, you might get a little mad at me, okay? But I got to explain it to you. You want a loan amount over 200. Now you can say, Tim, hey, my budget, I'm only buying a home for, 150. And to be honest, my first home was not over 150, okay? I was a single guy, tired of renting. I bought a home. But if you want the best interest rate, you want that loan amount over 200K. Now, again, you don't go buy a home over 200K just to get a lower rate. Buy a home based on your budget. In most areas, homes are over 200K anyway. But higher loan amounts get a lower interest rate. That's the way the pricing set up. We call it pricing metrics. The pricing basically set up by Fannie and Freddie and mortgage-backed securities. And I'm not going to get on that whole thing. But take this with you. The higher the loan amount, the more interest the lender can charge. So when they can charge more interest on a higher loan amount, they offer a little bit lower rates on those higher loan amounts. And then lower loan amounts is kind of the opposite. If the loan amounts lower, then it's a little bit higher interest rate. But again, you get the best interest rate for that 150 if you hit these other three, okay? If you have, good credit, you're putting a little bit more than 3% down, you're buying a single family primary. So don't like be too depressed or stressed out about this one. But again, what I have seen in the way it works, you don't believe me, look it up, Google it, that the higher loan amounts get a little bit better interest rate. Now, you really can't control the loan amount, okay? That's just based on your budget, based on your debt to income. But generally speaking, the best interest rates go to a little bit of the higher loan amounts. That's what I'm taking from you. But if you control these, you can definitely control buying a single family home. You can control your down payment. You control your credit. And you might be able to control this one. But again, higher loan amounts, bigger purchase price, you're going to get a little bit lower interest rate. And this is the important one too. And this is something some first-time home buyers miss is you really only need to shop 2 lenders. And what I mean by shop 2 lenders is that the lender that got you pre-approved after you get your offer accepted, so you put an offer in, the seller say yes, and while you're doing your home inspection or schedule home inspection, you want to talk to another lender and you want to get a worksheet. Ask them for a worksheet. Or maybe a couple of lenders, some websites just have get a quote. Click on get a quote and then have them do a soft credit if they can. They really don't need to pull your credit. But what you want to do is get a second worksheet. You want to send it to the lender that got you pre-approved and then ask them to beat it. And most of the time they will beat it to earn your business. Now, if they can't beat it, the one that gave you the worksheet, you just go with them for the financing. So you can't lose, but that's how you get the best interest rate. You have a high credit, as high as you can get it. You put more than the minimum down, the minimum 3%. It's a single family, a primary. Now you can't control the loan amount. Hopefully the loan amount's, over, 200, but if not, no big deal. But you definitely can do this one. We'll shop a couple of lenders and then just ask for a worksheet, ask for a soft credit. They're going to, ask you the same questions where you were, just answer the questions, give me your email and say, hey, and tell them up front, hey, I'm shopping. I'm rate shopping. I'm not looking to commit. I'm not looking to lock or pay you any money. I'm not looking for a hard credit check. I'm just looking for a quote. And then that way you can send it over to the other lender and have them beat it. So that's basically, this is the game here. And this is something, and I didn't do this one here. When I bought my first home, shop 2 lenders. I wish I did. I could have got a little bit lower rate. I just want to get it done, get the home. And then, But if you don't really want to shop lenders, you could always go online and Google some rates and, and send it to your current lender. But I recommend getting a worksheet from another lender. All right. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this helped. I hope I gave you some tips, okay? I want to help you get the best interest rate. It's going to save you money and give you a lower payment. It's also going to help you pay the home off quicker because with a lower interest rate, you pay less interest over the life of the loan. All right. I know this video is getting kind of long. Please, if you like this video, if you like this content, please subscribe to the channel. Also, leave me a comment. I love to read it and comment back to you. Thanks so much. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.